This hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
The funny thing about a trillion, it's a word that really hasn't been around in politics for more than about 40 years or so, when they started to even utter a trillion. And the reason is it's a word that's almost inconceivable. A trillion seconds ago, when you factor in, Squirrel, the way we do our calendar, which isn't that old, leap year and the rest of it, a trillion seconds ago is 31,688 years ago. And yet, we have policies that spend trillions of dollars. And by the way, when I say that, policies where the money is gone. And it's a bipartisan problem. Everybody remembers the day before September 11th.
We are, as they say, tangled in our anchor chain. Our financial systems are decades old. According to some estimates, we cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions. We cannot share information from floor to floor in this building because it's stored on dozens of different
And yet there are people who say, I'm a Republican, I don't care. I'm a Democrat, I hate it. And I got a phone call from a very, very dear friend of mine. Dear friend of mine. She's a young girl. In my eyes, young. They're called millennials. And she's a wonderful girl and out of politics for many, many, many years. However, when she was in politics, she felt that she had to be on the blue team for a variety of different reasons, none of which apply to reality. And she called me today and said, what do you think about what's going on? And I said, I absolutely love it. Because for the first time, we have somebody that's breaking the tradition of blue team versus red team. Gets no credit for it, but the future will give credit. And the future will audit the financial crimes. This generation, these old codgers from 85 down to these new socialist, Marxist, cuckold, communist imbeciles that make up Democrat congressmen and I guess women. And they will judge them exactly the way it should be judged, as financial criminals, as perpetrators of lies and frauds. And really, it's an old clip, but it's a perfect clip. And it was a young professor at the time. His name is James Wildman. And you can find the clip. It's all over the place. It's fantastic in explaining exactly how you add $30 trillion in 16 years, but how you allowed an election thief with dementia who clearly had soiled the trousers at least 3 times a day. That lying, cheating buffoon.
And Joan Shingang, I'm going to pronounce it, Shanga Kawawa.
A sentence without one word. What did you go to CPS? And they accepted it as this imbecile spent $3 trillion on one policy. How did it get here?
Despite what you might be thinking, these two circles are not equal. I repeat, these two circles are not equal. One is in fact larger than the other. What I need you to do is determine which one that is. So, please raise your hand if you believe the blue circle is larger than the red. All right. Please raise your hand if you believe the red circle is larger than the blue. All right, very good. Now, before I said anything about these two circles, what was your first instinct? Equal, right? Because they look equal. And the reason why they look equal is because, in fact, they are equal. These two circles are identical. Yet I got just about every one of you to raise your hand and say that they're not. So what do we learn? That you can be manipulated like that to believe in something that goes against your natural instincts. Just imagine as a child you're taught that the blue circle is larger than the red. If you say it enough times, you convince yourself that's the truth. If you're told the lie enough times, it becomes part of your reality. And if enough people are taught that lie, that the blue circle is larger than the red, well, now it becomes part of the culture. And if that culture then passes that misinformation along to the next generation, well, now it becomes tradition. And what we have to remember is that just because...
Do you understand that? And that is the lie, the fraud that has been used to change the trajectory of our financial future, each and every one of us. But in the worst areas, run by the biggest liars and frauds, it has destroyed what is often referred to, wrongfully I made it, as the middle class. What it has destroyed is your dollars. Your dollars. And one moron president, one, eroded 30+ cents a dollar. One. In the name of a fraud.
New this morning, President Trump orders the U.S. Navy to attack boats
clip.
that are placing...
That's all right, Squirrel. That's all right. We'll do the wrong clip. And what I meant by that was this simple plan.
The Biden administration is granting $20 billion for more clean energy projects. Lauren, where's the money going?
To help fund green projects in low-income communities.
That was just part of the agenda. The entire agenda was $3 trillion.
The Biden administration is considering as much as $3 trillion worth of measures to include in the long-term economic program. Bloomberg has learned the proposal will be presented to the president this week. Infrastructure and climate change have long been described as key efforts in the pending program, and the new details reportedly show the administration is eyeing some $400 billion for so-called green spending.
It's all gone. The money is all gone.
U.S. President Joe Biden on Thursday urged Congress to pass a $430 billion drugs and energy bill, saying it is the strongest way to fight inflation and would make significant progress toward achieving his climate goals.
Look, this bill is far from perfect. It's a compromise. But it's often how progress is made.
Here's the progress he speaks of. You remember the agenda. Everybody was going to love it. The poor people, the rich people, the middle people, oh, and the workers. Oh, you guys were going to make an absolute fortune. It was going to be absolute utopia. However, how did it really turn out?
The U.S. government is committing to a $7.5 billion loan for 2 big electric vehicle battery plants in Kokomo.
Kokomo. We had $7.5 billion in Kokomo. How many billions in Kentucky? How many billions in Ohio? And that's how you compartmentalize the scam. And, you know, when you look back and you think about Obama, who tested the waters with a very fancy, it was a palate cleanser now that you really think about it. Solyndra was a palate cleanser. That was nothing. That was before the appetizer. Squirrel, did you ever eat one of those fancy French meals? They give you that little sorbet. They call it a happy mouth. That was what Solyndra was.
Both swear that the testimony that you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
2 top executives of the now bankrupt solar power company Solyndra invoking the right under the U.S. Constitution to remain silent.
I respectfully decline to answer any questions.
Respectfully.
You know why, Squirrel? They stole the money. And they gave a portion back to the campaign coffers of scum Democrats that would assure not only would they not be charged, and they weren't. They got away with it. And at the time, $500 million. But that's when real money was real money. And what happened after Barack Obama spent $9 trillion, after in the last year of the Trump administration, the Democrats fascistically took over everything and shut everything down and added $3 trillion to his budget, his deficit in 1 year. And Joe Biden added $9 trillion, 3 of it stolen in just this kind of swindle. What's your dollar worth today? You're going to talk about gas? You're going to talk about Iran? You're going to talk about fuel at the pump in Illinois or California versus the free states that don't partake? You see, the scandal is Democrats stole your money, and they did it knowingly.
Lee Zeldin, the EPA chief, and he said that he's been digging into that $29 billion in green energy grants that he blocked, money that he saved the American taxpayers. It was going out the door at the end of the Biden administration. He told me today he has found a major self-dealing scandal. In other words, Obama and Biden administration officials were moving money around to former cabinet secretaries, to donors, to political activists. Stacey Abrams, one of them, we know about that from our...
You remember Stacey Abrams? She was the one who made certain the election would be stolen in Georgia. She has the love handles on her neck, that fat pig. $2 billion. She never ran anything. The good news is you don't have to. To sell this bull dung, you don't ever have to do anything. Cuckold communists, Marxists, socialists, and any Democrat, you don't have to know anything. All you have to do is repeat the lie that is now tradition about your green energy scams. But what is the actual result of the trillions of dollars? You know what it is, Squirrel? Dark money campaigns in 2020 and 2019. Dark money, which goes out as policy, ends up in these NGOs that are all the vogue now, and turns out in the campaign coffers was about $900 million. The election year, when people pretended hadn't soiled his pants live on stage during the debate, and his victim, Doctor of Gatsangul, Jill, said she thought she was having a stroke. It was $4.9 billion in kickback schemes of money. And you know how you know, Squirrel? Because all their projects, all of them, they're all bankrupt like Solyndra today.
A major electric vehicle battery factory in Kentucky has abruptly shut down just months after opening, leaving about 1,600 workers without jobs and sparking outrage among workers, local officials, and community leaders. The $5.8 billion facility, a joint venture between Ford Motor Company and South Korean partner SK On, was supposed to drive EV battery production in the U.S. and support regional economic growth.
But now, no. And the money is gone. There are no jobs. The building is vacant. People haven't been paid. And where's the $5.8 billion? Well, it's nothing compared to the $7.4.
Ford announces major changes at one of its Kentucky plants that could impact hundreds of local workers. The auto giant plans to convert its electric vehicle battery plant in Glendale to manufacture battery energy storage systems.
The changes. Oh, yeah. They built two there. This one's gone, too. Two plants, 5-point-something billion, 7-point-something billion, gone in the wind. What about in Missouri?
A $500 million battery plant for St. Louis is canceled. The manufacturing company ICL Group decided to pull out after the Trump administration canceled a grant of almost $200 million. The developer was going to build the 19-acre site in North St. Louis in the city's Carondelet neighborhood.
All of it. All these businesses. All the solar panel. All of it. The money is in the wind. And you're talking $3 trillion. And you think Trump is driving up inflation? Joe Biden made it normal. 11%, 8%, 7%. When that stupid idiot would come out and say it's not bad, it's not 11%, the imbeciles calling themselves Democrats cheered. And why wouldn't they? What the frack do they know about economics?
Like you said, they print the dollars. So why does the government even borrow?
Well, again, some of this stuff gets, some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do?
Now that stupid idiot, failure and fraud, has a degree in music, and he was the highest economic advisor to the president, dimwit in diapers, Joe Biden. In fact, if you know anything about economics, you cannot be a Democrat by definition, as they have no economics. Whether they call it socialism or Marxism or communism or social justice, do you know what it really is, Squirrel? It's a opportunity to steal other people's money. So when I hear Paul Krugman pretend he's going to do what to me? What are you going to do to me, you fish face, low-life, pansy, pussy willow? What are you going to do?
We need to defang Trump as much as possible and make sure that neither he nor anybody who follows in his footsteps has power after the next two elections. But beyond that, we really need to do a thorough purging of the United States. We need a demogrification, and that is, I'm not going over the top by using a word that's very similar to the denazification that we pursued successfully after World War II in Germany.
Are you as good at fighting as you are economics? Because I'll go in the front line. Will you, fish face? Because I'll eat your face. So any of you Democrats, I don't give a rip if you're from Portland or Jersey or wherever you're from. Come and get some. And stop talking, pansies. 312-642-5600.
Call Shaun now. 312-642-5600.
It is that time of year again to save babies by providing ultrasounds with our friends at Preborn. You know how this goes. We've done it every single year.